Every fan has their favorite memories. From the pre-game tailgate, meeting their heroes, to the miracle moments.
It is fought for, and it's touchdown!
Relive your favorite memories or experience them for the first time at the Minnesota Vikings Museum. Visit the Vikings Museum with your football family this holiday season. Ticket information at vikings.com/museum.
Well, the Vikings were red hot coming into today with 4 straight wins, looking to make it 5 in a row. But unfortunately, that does not happen as they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium for their first loss in quite some time. Alongside Ron Johnson, Cy Amundson joining us. I'm Hobie Artigue. Thank you for joining us on Vikings Postgame. And guys, 26-23 the final. The Chiefs victorious. Your biggest takeaway from today's game against the Chiefs?
The Vikings have to do better at tight situations like a missed extra point. That game could have been a little bit different if he makes that, because then that puts a little bit more pressure on the Chiefs to try to score a touchdown versus kicking a field goal. I think that's my biggest takeaway, is just tight situations like that, the offensive line, the last-minute drive. Everybody's waiting for that last-minute Kirk Cousins drive to kind of etch his name into Vikings history. Still hasn't come yet.
Cy, things going so well for the Vikings in so many areas throughout the game. Some discrepancies along the course of the game as well. Where did things go wrong?
I mean, to jump off of what Ron said, I think it was crucial mistakes in crucial moments. It wasn't just that there were mistakes in the game. It's you miss an extra point when you really, really need it. You can't convert a third down at the end of the game on 2 consecutive drives. You know, simple stuff like, I know it's luck, but falling on a fumble towards the end of the game, just not coming through in crucial moments, I think, was the tough part today.
And before we get to breaking this thing down a little bit deeper, let's go ahead and hear from the head coach. Here's Mike Zimmer after today's loss against Kansas City.
Okay, game of big plays. They made more of them than we did, and I thought we fought like crazy. We just didn't play well enough to win. Give credit to them; they played well in a lot of areas, but we didn't play well enough to win. Yeah, well, we misfitted a little bit. We had a pressure coming off the outside. We got a little wide, and we missed 2 tackles.
How do you feel that Matt Moore did? You guys put a lot of pressure on him in the second half, but he seemed to make the plays when he had to.
Yeah, made some good throws, made some good plays.
Mike, do you look at that drive in the third quarter where there's 3 penalties on offensive linemen as maybe the equalizer here, swinging that back in favor of Kansas City?
I don't know. We didn't have a lot of penalties today, but they called one on a screen where said the line was too far down the field. I'll have to look at it on tape and see, but I don't know.
You might think you weren't able to get the running game going maybe as well as you might have hoped.
Well, they did a nice job in playing the run. They did a good job in mixing up the fronts.
Seemed like one of the adjustments at halftime, at least just right away, was getting Dalvin the ball, kind of running it a little bit more. Did you want to shift back maybe to the running game after halftime there a bit?
Yeah, well, I thought we were probably throwing it a little bit too much, and we had to get back under control and get a little bit more balanced.
Was Adam Thielen, did he re-injure his hamstring, or did he just get out there and it wasn't good enough to go? What kind of happened there?
You'll have to ask him.
Coverage-wise, did you see much standing out with the big plays? It just seems some of those were just good catches down the field.
Well, the one on the far sideline at the end of the game, I thought we should have made the play. We were there. The one early was a double move that we didn't play very good. And then, the tight end, when Kelsey caught the ball on the inside breaking route late, we were in good position. We just didn't make the play.
How did you feel Kirk Cousins played today?
I think there's some plays he'd rather get back. I don't think we helped him a lot today.
Yeah, do you think they were able to limit Stephon Diggs so much of the passing game?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things going on. I couldn't tell you that right today.
You have the sequence of 3 pass interference reviews in the first half. What was communicated to you on a couple of those?
I'm trying to think. Well, yeah, I thought it was a pick, and you know, it's a gamble anytime you challenge those, but you know, they have to be held accountable too. So then the other one was, you know, obviously a bad call because they overturned it, and then they let the last one go. So you know, it's hard to tell.
What did you make of the way Laquan stepped in and made a couple of plays there?
Yeah, again, I don't know. You know, it's hard for me to see what everybody's doing.
The frustrating is that your kicking game has been so good, but then you had a missed extra point and then that last punt, so that was kind of a big difference, those two.
Yeah, hey, things happen. Okay.
Not the ending the Vikings wanted by any means, but guys, this was also a slow start for this team. 2 3-and-outs for the offense to start the game, but on that third series, they put together what was probably their highlight of the day, a 12-play, 75-yard drive that ended in the end zone. Ron, that drive just kind of all about balance, and that was really the silver lining to this performance for the offense.
Yeah, they needed more of that today, too. I mean, you look at third downs overall, they were, 3-and-outs. 6 out of the 12 drives went 3-and-out. That's way too many 3-and-outs for a team. But the biggest thing for that play calling, if you look at it, it was balanced. You saw Laquan Treadwell get involved a bunch, even though Thielen was out. And then you saw a little bit of mix in there with the run and some screens. So I think overall good play calling, but they needed more of that the entire game.
And let's show you that highlight of that drive. Laquan Treadwell, who had been pretty quiet since his return to Minneapolis, man, he had a great day today catching. Look at this catch down the field. Ron, what'd you see from Laquan?
Catch radius. I mean, the ball he ran, he was in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, but then also side, they fed Dalvin Cook at just the right time too.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think the important thing about this drive was exactly what you said. The first 2 3-and-outs were pretty difficult. Couple of overthrows. So to have Kirk bounce back, and there were great catches by Treadwell, but those were darts. So it kind of set the stage for them to play offensively off and on throughout the game.
And then Olabisi Johnson ending the drive in the end zone with a touchdown, his second in his young career. The Vikings having to do a lot without Adam Thielen. He left the game early with that hamstring injury.
Yeah, and those guys doing the house party in the end zone, they were like, what, 3 years old when House Party came out? They don't know nothing about kid and play. Come on now.
They have the DVDs. Maybe the Blu-rays.
Do they have the DVDs,
Maybe
Hobie?
they have the digital.
That's the oldest thing anyone's ever
It is on
said
digital
on
now.
the
I've
show.
been checking for it.
They have the tapes.
Let's look at the defense, too, because they had a slow start in getting pressure on Matt Moore. Only 1 sack in the first half as we show you some of these highlights. But they really turned it on in the second half. Here's a half sack right there. Jaleel Johnson and Danielle Hunter getting in on the mix. But in the second half, 4 total sacks. Afadio Dinabo having one of those at a key time in the game, too, Ron.
Yeah, and you notice when they're putting 6 to 7 guys in the box, Matt Moore couldn't really figure it out, or the offensive line. And they just did a good job of getting home. There were some times they wish they did it more, but 5 sacks, it's a great day.
And also, Cy, you see these back-to-back sacks right here. Harrison Smith first. The ball's on the ground. You have to like that the ball is actually hitting the turf.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'll jump on top of what Ron said there, too, is when you play a schemer like Andy Reid, a guy who can spread you out, you have to get home with 4 guys most of the game, and that's a difficult thing for any team to do. So the fact that they mixed it up a little bit and actually got home in the second half, I think is pretty impressive, whether it's Mahomes or Moore.
Yeah.
All season long, though, offensive pass interference call has been something that's plagued the league since the start. I think you speak for
I'm
everyone who's a
psyched to talk about this, Hobie.
Let's look at one of those plays. Sammy Watkins, the key culprit on this one. Mike Zimmer actually challenged this play. You can see Sammy Watkins right there in the slot. He's going to run right at Eric Kendricks, and he kind of holds his body together, runs right into Kendricks. Kendricks' hands are up like, what's going on? Where's my flag? Ron, what did you see on this play?
Kendricks was covering, the far side DB, they're passing it off. Kendricks is supposed to cover Kelsey. He gets hit. So he's like, wait a minute, my guy's coming into position right now, and you hit me.
Yeah.
That's the same exact play that happened to Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs against the Packers. New York called it a penalty. On field here, they don't see anything wrong with it.
And it was not overturned either.
The refs are not going to check. The refs are not going to change what they see on the field, and that's the problem. They have too much pride right now, and they think, hey, if we make this call, if we don't see anything, let's not change it because we look stupid.
But there was also this one that was just a what type of call on Laquan Treadwell. He was called for offensive pass interference. Thank goodness this went up to the booth for review, and that was negated as well. But is this going to be a recurring theme as the season goes along?
Yes.
Is it?
It is, because they're dumb. I mean, they don't really know what to do right now. And the ref was explaining, I think this might be the shot, but maybe it's longer. The ref explains to Zimmer what he did. He's saying Treadwell did this, and then he put. No, he didn't.
He didn't
Treadwell
initiate
got jammed
contact.
up,
Yeah.
and then he got away from the guy, which is all within 5 yards, which is all legal. Cover 2, corners, hitting receivers has been happening since my dad played, since my granddad played, since the cavemen and Fred Flintstone played. That's never been a flag, and they have to stop this. This is getting dumb now because that should have never even been a flag.
Todd?
Yeah, it's the stupidest thing in sports. It is easily the stupidest thing in sports right now. There's no consistent line. You even hear the announcers saying stuff like, well, it really has to be bad for him to overturn it. Why the hell are we doing it then? What a waste of time. One week a guy sneezes on a guy and they call it and reverse it. The next week a guy stabs a guy and it's not a it's complete nonsense. And if they don't do away with it after this season, I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know. Look at me, I'm stroking out, Ron. It's infuriating to watch.
They have to take New York
week.
out of it. They got to take New York out of it, and they got to call it how they see it. They're too worried about letting New York help them out.
Sure.
They got to go back to the old way.
Now, one common thread for the Vikings loss today, missed opportunities across the board. You look on offense, 6 3-and-outs, and in those series, they combined for 6 total yards. Offensive line, they had a lot of penalties in the second half. Also, Ron, you mentioned it at the top of the show, missed extra point. Where do all of those factor in whenever you peel the layers of this loss?
Honestly, when you peel it back, it happened. You got to move on. If you're the Vikings team, you know, it's like, hey, it happened. Let's move on. We can't blame it on one guy because we know that. This is an entire team. You got missed tackles by Harrison. You got by Harris as well. You got missed opportunities with sacks where they could have had a guy. You got fumbles on the ground. The Vikings didn't get it. There's a ton of things where you can look back and say we could have, should have. But at the end of the day, it happened. You lost the game by 3 points. Where can you change it? Simple things, which I think they corrected. Some of the other pass interference, some of the offsides, some of the false starts, some of the holdings was thrown away. But you can't just get bullied by the guy Chris Jones inside. He was bullying Pat Elflein all day, and that's another part of the piece.
Inside, with the 3-and-outs, they had 2 to start the game and 2 to end the game as well.
Yeah.
So whenever you talk about a slow start and a slow finish, when you have both, it's really hard to overcome that.
Yeah, it was a nice 3-and-out sandwich, wasn't it? I think the tough thing is, from an emotional fan standpoint, I think you look at the negative conversation that surrounded the team over the last year and a half, where you go and you beat easy teams that you should beat, and you go on the road and face difficult teams and you can't quite get it done, and you're leaving it on the table in ways like you did today, and in ways like the interception in Green Bay, and it's kind of I think a difficult feeling to sit with when you lose a game like this. The good news is sometimes in the NFL you got to wait 4 weeks to correct that mistake. Next week you up the ante. You got the Cowboys, who are division leader, Sunday night. Primetime game on the road. It's in theory a tougher task. So you have another chance to kind of reverse that discussion about.
Toughest stats for me though is looking at these stats.
Yep.
212 pass yards to 230 against Matt Moore.
Yeah.
There's no reason Matt Moore should outduel you. And in the rushing
I
game,
do you one better. Rushing.
96 to 147. Yeah, I was right with you on that. Like. Yeah.
KC was giving up 145 a game coming into this one. That was 30th in the NFL. And the Vikings, who are a running team now,
but you got
96.
Hobie, they might as well have lined Andy Reid up in the box, brought fans and put him in there. They were asking us to throw the ball. I'm the biggest Dalvin Cook fan in the world, but they had every member of the organization on the D-line.
They did. They stacked the box. I think Charles Davis said it on the cast. At one point, there were 10 guys in the box.
Yeah.
Like literally, there were 10 in the box, and they said,
"That's something you do in Kiwi."
Yeah, beat us one-on-one. We don't care. Yeah. And I think that opportunity was missed. There was a couple there where you got to just say, "Hey, they're not going to let us run, but how do we pass to run?" And we brought that up numerous times in the pregame show. This was a pass to run situation. You pass first, get them out the box, and then you run the ball. We didn't do that.
And on top of that, I think when you talk about the 3-and-outs to start and the 3-and-outs to finish, they tried that to start the game. Passes sailed a little bit. There was a missed opportunity right there. That first one, there was one to Dalvin Cook. There was one, I believe, to Rudolph. An early one to Smith.
He was a little too jacked up. There's too much of the smelling salt.
So that's a little, a little bit of it right
Kirk
there.
Cousins did have 3 passing touchdowns today, but as you guys alluded to, sailed a couple of balls, missed a couple of connections with some of his star players. But here's number 8 after today's loss.
I'll just start and then we can take questions. Back and forth game, tough ending. Credit the Chiefs for the plays they made time and again. And, we obviously, as you do with any loss, you look back and point to a handful of plays in different places that, we felt like we didn't execute well enough and we're capable of doing better. Want to thank our fan base for the way they traveled to this game. I thought they were outstanding all game long and made what is a very tough place to play somewhat, easier. And so that was outstanding. And just a hard-fought game that we didn't make enough plays to come out with the win. And there are, plenty that we'll go back and look at and talk about. And until I see the film, it's hard to say, all the details. And certainly it's never any one thing. But with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Kirk, with the tie game, you get the ball a little over 2 minutes. You guys got to feel like the game is yours right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. I don't know if you feel like the game is yours, but you certainly have a great opportunity to make it yours and to go do something. And so that was certainly, one of the disappointments to not do more on those final 2 drives when we had the football in the fourth quarter.
Kirk, why do you think the passing game didn't quite click the way that it has in some other games?
Yeah, again, never any one thing. It was a combination of they did some good job, with coverage, trying to take certain things away, and missed a couple throws. We had longer third downs that made it harder to really be as productive and efficient with the down. When it's 3rd and 9+, it's a little harder to feel like you're getting an efficient result from the down. Penalties hurt, Adam going out, so there's a variety of factors that all kind of come together. But, and I thought the 2-minute drive at the end of the half, having to settle for a field goal was tough. I kind of knew at halftime that was a big drive, and we should have come away with 7. And there were, several incompletions in there where you don't, nobody was wide open, but you go back and say, what could I have done there to try to get 7 instead of 3?
How fighting is it when you have a couple big plays that get called back because of penalty and now you're in the third?
Yeah, penalties are tough. We've said that all along. It's no excuse. You got to overcome them. I think one of the drives we did overcome some penalties. But I felt like in the third quarter, I think we had 3 drives. One, we had a bad penalty, tough penalty, overcame it. And then the 2 drives, we were rolling, then he got a penalty, and then we couldn't overcome it, got stuck in a 3rd and long, and then had to punt. And so penalties certainly, robbed us of some chances. And, we had a really good short yardage menu this week, and we just never got to it. We never had a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 1.5. And some games you get 4 or 5 of those, and it's going to make you feel a lot better about your third down offense when really, if you're having 3rd and 1, that's just a lot easier than 3rd and, long.
You mentioned the last 2 drives. What was the problem with those 2, especially considering the 3rd and last? You guys moved the ball.
Right.
Dalvin had his best run.
Yes.
And you had the 3 straight with base running, passing.
Yes. Not any one thing. The first play we ran a bootleg, and we didn't get anywhere with it. Second play, again, it's all running together. I'm not remembering. The 3rd down, we ran the ball, didn't get it. Again, had a penalty there that they declined, and then the final drive, we had the drop back pass. They got batted down at the line of scrimmage. Wanted to work Diggsy there on an inside slant. They batted it down. 2nd down, ran a screen. They sniffed it out, made the play. Then we're now on 3rd and I don't know what it was, 3rd and 10+, and got the sack or got the pressure and threw it to Dalvin's feet to try to avoid a sack. So each play was a different thing, but obviously we couldn't string enough together to stay on the field, and that's what you're frustrated about.
Screen game today, very effective.
Yeah, effective, and it's screens are often put you in the poorhouse or they put you in the penthouse. It just kind of depends, and you don't know when you call it. And we had a few that were big time. We had one called back on a penalty that killed a drive, and then we had one on the last drive of the game that put us in a 3rd and long. We didn't hit it, so you kind of live by it, and then you have to accept the consequences when it doesn't hit. Again, credit the Chiefs for while they gave up a couple, they stopped a couple as well, or really just that one at the end. They stopped, and it certainly put us in a tough spot backed up to convert that 3rd down.
What did you make of the way Laquan Treadwell stepped in after Adam went out?
Yeah, he did a great job. I think he caught 2 big 3rd downs, caught a big ball in the 2-minute drive at the end of the half that got us down there, and so it was great to get him involved, and hopefully we can continue to really rely on him going forward. All right, thank you.
All right, well, there's quarterback Kirk Cousins, and here's his scatter chart from today's game. Ron, a big drop whenever you're talking about completion percentage, going from 78 in the month of October to 50% today. He sailed a few balls, some short passes sailed, also that deep one to Diggs that was off of his fingertips. What'd you make of Kirk Cousins' performance today?
Well, I've talked about this all the time, 3-step drops. If you look at the chart, there's only two called 5-yard, quick, get it out of his hands passes. That's not enough. You got to get Kirk Cousins going. The others are behind the line of scrimmage, which were just dump-offs or screens. And then the other ones were just throws that were late because it was this check down. So you got to give the ball to Diggs early and often to get him going. 4 to 5 catches. He has to do that. You didn't get Diggs going, you didn't get Kirk going, and that's why it was a slow start. Every game they started fast, quick passes.
He did have 2 nice touchdowns in the red zone, though.
Oh, yeah, he did. 100%.
Laser to Kyle Rudolph
100%.
and that one to Olabisi Johnson as well.
But after his October or Kirktober or whatever you want to call it, you've got to take November the same way. I don't care who you're playing, if it's Kansas City, if it's the Patriots. 3-step drops, let Kirk get going, give the offensive line even a chance to just have to only block for a second or two. You can't ask those guys to start off 5-step drops against Chris Jones and that defense, because why Andy Reid is going to get tricky. He's going to try to confuse you, and it worked a little bit.
We'll hear from Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs in just a little bit. But for now, let's take a break from the football talk and let's toss it over to Cy, standing by with some social media reaction after today's game against the Chiefs.
That's right. Let's dive into some Vikings Twitter here, because it's like I've always said, when you're feeling sad about sports, go to social media to cheer yourself up. It's what we in the business call sarcasm, Ron. But we decided to do the segment, so what the hell, right? Here we go. This one's from @BobbyLaneStark, who said, sad about the Vikings, so naturally Joe ordered me 2 McFlurries, so I am cured. And that is an emotion that I understand, okay? I eat an amount of pizza every time the Vikings lose that my wife considers divorcing me. So I completely get this. And let's jump to the next one, speaking of relationships that aren't working great. This one's from @Mand_D, Amanda Devnich. How do I make my boyfriend forgive me for accidentally cursing at him when the Vikings lost to the Chiefs today? Also, how do I make him think I'm not crazy for acting like that? All relationship advice is accepted. Well, guess what, Amanda? I got some. Get yourself a new boyfriend. What sort of loser are you hooked up to that is upset that you're passionate about the Vikings? That's nonsense. Maybe tell him to stop knitting sweaters for his cats and watching documentaries on free-range soap and support your hobbies a little bit. So I say drop him, and just a heads up, there's probably guys throughout this state who were cursing in bars today at televisions. Go grab one of those. I think it'll work out better than this. So how about something positive, Ron? Let's do some positivity. Here we go. #Vikings. Griffin gets the Skol chant going at Arrowhead. Thumbs up. That is true. That was probably my favorite part of the game today when they showed that crowd shot. Huge shout out to Viking fans who normally travel well to Kansas City, but today was absolutely bonkers. And let's say we finish with one other positive thing. Relax, Viking fans. Green Bay is getting waxed. And oh boy, did they get stomped by the Chargers. And the Bears lost because of Mitch Trubisky. And Ron, what happened in that Lions game?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. I think the Lions also lost. So good. Great back and forth for me and Ron. I said support me. He doesn't care about me very much. But 0 for 4 for the NFC North, so we weren't the only ones struggling today. And I look forward to the next time we do one of these, and I don't have to sift through a lot of angriness. Back to you guys at the desk.
Cy, I don't know how we followed that up, man. You know, Ron's a wide receiver. He's not a quarterback.
Well, I was giving Mandy advice, so that's what happened.
Okay.
I told her she's in Iowa, so she has an Iowa boyfriend, so it's already too late. It's doomed.
Iowa, just a state full of pigs that learn to drive and talk. Back to you guys.
All right, Cy, thank you very much. Let's look at this game a little bit deeper. A decent day for Dalvin Cook. 71 rushing yards, 45 receiving yards. Decent day all around for him. As for Stephon Diggs, only 1 catch for 4 yards. Both of those guys pretty disappointed with their performances as a whole after the loss of Kansas City.
What were they doing so good against you to limit your yards?
It wasn't doing nothing. We had what we wanted, just didn't take advantage. We're a good closeout team, and today we didn't close the game out. That's what it came down to today.
Because you guys had some explosive plays, right? I mean, you had Treadwell coming through, you had Amir coming through.
Yeah, we just didn't close the game out at the end. This is what it came down to today.
I know Everson was talking about how you guys cannot let this game define who you are and the rest of the year. How important is that right now, too? Because even though it hurts right now, you know who you are.
It's the NFL. You gotta, teams are good. You just gotta fight back the next week. Type of locker room we got, type of guys we got, type of leaders we got. Just gotta go regroup, learn from the film, and go get better.
Stephon, Mike Zimmer said after the game that this was a game of big plays. They made more than we did. Why don't you think you guys were able to make the explosive plays today?
I don't really know. You kind of got to watch the tape, but from being out there, just got to execute better. We got to do a better job as far as, like, I always look at myself to see what I could have done better in a lot of situations. So for me, I got to watch the tape. I'll get back to you and let you know, but I'm always take full responsibility on the plays that's taking my wheel.
Yeah, Zimmer also said after the game you guys maybe didn't give Cousins a lot of help, was what he said when asked about how Kirk played. How do you feel about his play, and do you agree maybe you guys didn't give him a lot of help, or what?
I feel like, as an offense, you always want to support your quarterback in any way, shape, or form. So if our head coach said we didn't give him enough help, we didn't give him enough help. But as a receiver, you kind of always take that personally that you gotta do a better job. Regardless on what it is, on how it comes up, whatever coverage you're getting, you gotta win for the guy. It's hard enough to play quarterback, so for us, we support him 100%. We're going to do everything we can to put him in the best position to be successful, especially guys on the outside. So for us, it's kind of like the farm your own land mindset, and everybody worry about themselves, and we move forward that way.
You talked about the amount of purple in the crowd today. It seemed like this is such a home field advantage for them usually, but Vikings fans have traveled really well. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the game, it was definitely a lot of score chance and that kind of thing. And that's something that we didn't anticipate happening, so it was exciting. It was a great time. It kind of forced some penalties, I think, as well. So for us, we always appreciate the support because, you're always good to have the fans that have your back.
A very slow day for the big stars on the Vikings offense. When you look at Stefon Diggs, let's start off with him. He came into this game with 3 straight games of 140 receiving yards or more. Today, only 1 catch for 4 yards. What changed for him?
The quick stuff. You gotta pass to run, and then what that does is that creates a run game where corners and safeties get a little bit nosy and they're looking in the backfield, and then we see the Stefon Diggs get behind them. Didn't do it today. So there was nothing surprising about the offense to the Chiefs. And that was the big difference in Stefon Diggs. He was there, and then Adam Thielen going out mid-game. They focused on Diggs. They took their attention off from both and just all put it on Diggs.
And Dalvin Cook had a little trouble in the screen game too today.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's just to Ron's point. I think early on we got put in a situation where their defense was dictating more of the game than our offense. And to go back to the Diggs thing, if he hits him on that deep route early in the first quarter there, that could have changed the entire complexion of the way they approach things.
Man, one more step.
Yeah.
I was hoping
that was fingertips.
I know.
I needed him to catch that.
Well, coming up a little bit later, Paul Allen and Ben Lieber will join us between the lines. But you know what? The Stars didn't have huge days, but those two guys did. How about Laquan Treadwell leading the team with 58 receiving yards? Really kept that drive going, that 12-play drive, the third one of the game. And then Amir Abdullah, too. Pretty good performance for him, guiding in the end zone for the first time since the last game of 2017. Both of those guys, two big performances. Here's more from them in the locker room.
I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for every player that probably played good tonight. And, we just fell short, so we got to learn from this, and it'll help us later on in the season. And just got to go out and execute next week.
Yeah, when Adam went down, were you expecting those reps to kind of go to you if that happened?
Nah. I was just waiting on, whatever came my way, and just, making the most of it. And, all week we've been, taking reps and getting ready for anything, so we was always prepared no matter what happened because you never know. Any guy can go down at any position, so, everyone prepares for that. And, this league is all about the next guy up. And, I'd love to see my brother out there competing and making plays like he always do. And, when my name was called, I just had to make a play.
You guys have been playing so well, winning 4 in a row, and then the result.
It's tough, but we got to move on. I know this team's going to do a good job moving on and getting better.
Do you feel like you have left anything on the table after today?
Of course, we'll go back and watch the film. We're not going to live in a woulda, coulda, shoulda life, because we got to execute in those moments, and I know next week we will.
Amir, I know you guys always have to do what the defense gives you, right? And on your touchdown, what did you see there?
just drop coverage, maybe some confusion on their end. Doesn't really matter. We didn't get the win. So good play, but didn't finish the game.
It looked like something you went to earlier with Alexander and they missed it. Is that the same play?
I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm so locked into so many different details, I can't see it all.
Well, those are two unsung guys this game, but two guys who needed to step up when their number was called, and they did just that.
Yeah, and he said that. He said he was just waiting on his number to be called, and it was today. He made the catches. Nobody sat there and was like, oh, crap, the ball's going to Treadwell. I think that's a good sign, hopefully, because you don't get second chances a lot in this world. And the fact that he's getting a second chance, hopefully he's going to make the best of it.
Could this be the re-spark Laquan Treadwell needs, Cy?
Maybe. You know, I think his biggest problem was dropping passes when he was here. He's always been able to block. He just put the ball on the ground in important moments, so that'll hopefully help a lot. I think it could be a positive team for the thing as a whole. Or for the team as a whole, because with Thielen out, you got Olabisi stepping up, you have Treadwell stepping up, Abdullah had, I mean, building depth behind these star players is a pretty hard thing to do when you have a lot of high-priced talent, and as much as it sucks to not have Adam on the field, that might be what's happening right now, so we might be happy about that come playoff run time.
Let's go to Arrowhead Stadium now, and that's where Ben Lieber and Paul Allen are standing by, giving us their thoughts from between the lines.
Here at Arrowhead Stadium, Paul Allen with Ben Lieber, sideline analyst for the Vikings Radio Network on KFAN, former Vikings linebacker, with the Between the Lines postgame report provided by Gatorade. Harrison Butker, kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, goes 4 for 4 today. He hits an equalizer from 54 into the wind, which tied a career long. Then, after a very sneaky play to Tyreek Hill that got Kansas City down in winning position from a kicking standpoint, Butker did it again. Very, very exciting game. Kansas City wins 26-23. Your thoughts?
There's a lot to unpack here. You know, you laid it out perfectly, the end of the game, but you know, it's disappointing for me, just the interior protection of our offensive line. I don't think that we got the necessary protection at the time that Kirk was looking for, Stefanski was looking for, especially in critical situations. You know, I got to give them credit defensively, although we did confuse them on a couple touchdown passes. I thought the boot game, the perimeter pass game, they did a really good job of covering up all of our guys. Not a lot of open receivers that we've seen in the past. And our offensive line in the run game as well. The inside zones weren't working. Too many free runners, too many guys hitting the running lanes, and we could not get much going with Dalvin Cook. And I think subsequently we were sort of out of rhythm throughout the whole game.
And speaking of the pass game for the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill, I mean, you know, Tyreek into the game had 19 plays of 50 yards or more. 17 had gone to the end zone. He's one of the great playmakers in the last, let's say, half decade of the National Football League. Over the final 2 drives of the game, Tyreek Hill, 3 catches, 65 yards. He finishes 6 for 140 and a touchdown to start the game. Number 10 is unbelievably good.
You know, he's one of those players, I think, when you don't necessarily respect his total game until you watch him in person. Yeah. You know, he's not big. He's not very tall, but he's very compact and he's very strong. In sort of like the Steve Smith sort of way, that his lower body's very strong. It's hard to jam him. He's got cat-like quickness, and his reflexes are unbelievable. It was a great catch on Trey to open up the game. And, you know, Trey could have had better coverage. It was a great throw and a great catch. The one at the end of the game where he just bodied him out and went up and just out-fought him for the football, wow. That's just athleticism. And those plays are going to happen. But the one that really drives me crazy is we come out of a timeout there at the end of the game. We bring it, looks like sort of a zero blitz, kind of an all-out blitz situation, and we leave them uncovered. You know, you can't have that situation where you leave anybody uncovered, but especially him. Everybody has to be on alert every single play where he's at. Biggest play of the game, they left him uncovered.
All right, we would be remiss to not mention, and here it is right now. Alex, I don't know if you're able to swing that camera around at all. I know I'm catching you off guard here, but hey, Vikings fans, you guys were unbelievable today at Arrowhead. And the A topic is the Vikings 4-game winning streak was snapped. But man, I've called Vikings games for 18 years, Ben, and this includes Lambeau Field. I have never seen such an energized group of Vikings fans infiltrate a place like Arrowhead Stadium and deliver what it gave today. You were on the sideline the entire game. I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable.
No, I mean, this fan base gets a lot of credit for just how prideful they are, and they pack the stadium all the time. We hear about the 142 decibel level and all that stuff. I don't think this would happen if the Chiefs came to our place. I mean, it was about 50-50 Vikings and Chiefs fans. So the Vikings fans came from all over the place. They packed this stadium. They were skull chanting in the second half as loud as the Chiefs were cheering themselves.
Yeah.
They went back and forth and had this little dueling cheering match. But it was incredible. How much they supported this team, how big our fan base is, and a lot of respect to everybody that came out and paid the tickets.
We thank Ben Lieber for joining us, and I'm Paul Allen. Young Alexander on the camera, doing a great job, probably not liking the announcer for having him to impromptu swing around to all those great Vikings fans over there. We can hear them again. That is the Between the Lines postgame report provided by Gatorade. Make sure to follow Vikings.com during the course of the week for second to none coverage on your favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings.
PA Ben, thank you very much. Stephen Weatherly, he got his first sack of the season. The Vikings had 5 as a whole as a defense. But the bad news on defense, they gave up a 91-yard rushing touchdown. Also, Tyreek Hill, 140 yards receiving, plus that 40-yard receiving touchdown to start off the game. Any concerns on that defense right now as we head to Dallas?
Just keeping guys in front of them. I think that's the big thing. Is I'm interested to see the coverage, and we'll have to maybe talk to Zimmer or whatever, Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday. But the cover 2 of Tyreek Hill, it was almost like Harrison Smith and Trey Waynes didn't communicate well because Tyreek went right down the middle of them, kind of ran the corner route. Both were like halfway covering them. So I wonder some of that stuff, if it's the coverage or...
It's also Tyreek Hill.
It is Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But that cover, he looked like he was waiting for Harrison to help him out. So that's why I'm wondering, did they, you can't, I was going to say, did they not think he was that fast? You know how fast he is.
He passed up his own teammate on a 91-yard touchdown.
That's the stuff. Keeping guys in front of you because Amari Cooper can do that, and we know Dak can hit the deep ball, so.
Cy, what needs to lock down for this defense in Dallas?
Honestly, I'm not as worried as everyone seems to be, given, like we talked about with the internet. This team, since Zimmer's been here, they've been more of a bend, don't break team. When you're playing good offense, we forget this was Andy Reid. Tyreek Hill is the fastest man in the NFL. Travis Kelce's the best tight end in the entire league. So I wasn't, yes, I think you're right. You got to keep some guys in front of you. It never surprises me when this team gives up a couple big plays. I think it was more about simple execution of game plan and the fact that our defense was playing their game and their defense was dictating our game.
The one thing I will say, though, is you have Mackenzie Alexander on Travis Kelce once.
Yes.
You have it again. No, but in the beginning he did it. He beat him.
Early in the game.
He did it again. He beat him again. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on somebody. Fool me 3 times, okay, we got to change that. So that's the thing. When you notice a guy like Travis Kelce, because Damian Williams, we brought this up. The Packers running backs killed Damian Wilson, And Damian Wilson, the linebacker, got beat by the Packers. What happened this week? When the running back went out wide, a cornerback covered Alexander Madison, not Damian Wilson. Why? Because he knew, hey, Damian Wilson can't cover running backs. So if he's too big for Mackenzie Alexander, you get J-Ron Curse in the game, or you switch it to one of your linebackers and just say, hey, hold on and run with that monster. He is the best tight end in the NFL. We got to have a better package for him.
Ty, go ahead.
Can I give you a sneaky positive despite everything that happened today?
Go for it.
Alexander Madison catching that ball. Now, I know it was out of bounds.
That was legit.
But I think if you're not only a Vikings fan, if you're somebody that's in charge of this offense and you look at that, or if you're a team that is scouting and playing against us, you go, wait a second. They have a guy that can go up the seams
that was the best catch that never happened.
That to me, that's just legit. An added weapon going
and
forward.
The toe drag swag. He slid the two, even though he was out of bounds. One was kind of in, one was out. Best
Not
catch
bad
never
for a guy who can also, run between the tackles and run over a couple of people. Your final thoughts before we head to Dallas for Sunday Night Football?
Keep Amari Cooper in front of you. One, the defense, you got to get a little bit more creative. Offensively, take what Kansas City did to you, put it in your offense. Shift, move around, get the guys confused before you just run your normal basic plays.
Cy?
I hate it today. I'm angry. I'm going to be angry for a week or so. I love that we're playing the Cowboys, and I know, as Ron is very well aware, almost zero about actual football. But what I would love to see is we just spent a lot of time talking about all the weapons on this offense. Just go out and sling it. Just go, and I know I want to establish the run, but let's stop pretending like this is an offense that we don't want to make mistakes, and let's start acting like they're an offense that can beat the hell out of somebody, because I think they can. And I think that Dallas defense is, if you attack them on different levels, we could really put some fast points up on them.
I'd say fans create some fake Twitter accounts.
Let's do it.
And go after Kirk Cousins some more, because when somebody was under his skin, he was edgy.
Cy, go get you some pizza. Ron, stay off of social media. Thank you for joining us here on Vikings Postgame. We'll see you next time.